I saw a clip of Wolfgang Van Halen from Mammoth playing a song called The End, and it's a tapping part. Well, I should say it's a slapping part. It's this percussive slappy tappy hammery thing. What is he doing there? How could he possibly be making that sound with just such a small movement in his picking hand, his slapping hand? And it seems like there could be some rhythm being created in the fretting hand as well. So it stopped me in my tracks when I saw it, and I just had to try and learn it. I'm gonna spare you all the details. In many hours I've actually kind of just picked up my guitar and noodled around with this thing. I didn't care to film that except for one little clip, which I'll show you now. Just not even close. I don't even know what notes he's getting out of the guitar. Normally, even if I cannot possibly play a thing, I at least understand how it's being played pretty quickly. That's one of the things, if you play guitar long enough, you understand how things are working, even if you can't execute them. I looked online to see if anybody's tried to learn this or teach it or anything. I found 2 covers of it. One of them is this kid here, seems to be doing a pretty good job. I can't see what his interpretation of this lick is. There's another guy playing the solo sections and he tries the riff too. I, again, cannot hear it really for the life of me. I think I'm just gonna go with the OG creator, Wolfgang, for breaking this one down, trying to figure it out based on what his fingers are doing. I don't know, it just seems like a challenge to me, doesn't it? He's sitting there all high and mighty on his dad's guitar, the famous Frankenstrat, just ripping this mind-bending guitar part. I don't know. Something inside of me is burning to learn it. I don't know if there's a lick like that for you that you've heard recently where you hear it and you're just like, I gotta stop everything I'm doing and figure that thing out. So thanks to Wolfgang Van Halen for creating this guitar part. I can't wait to hear the full album. There's some live clips of him playing this song, and it's just remarkable how good he is. I've been following Wolfgang's career since like he was battling trolls back in the Twitter days in like the late 2010s. I remember he was putting out music for the first time under his own name and of course catching flack. I don't even really know. I didn't follow it that closely, but I understood that there was some back and forth between him and people just saying stupid stuff maybe regarding Eddie Van Halen or something along those lines of just conflating the two, for example. But I feel like LeBron James, I always knew that Wolfgang Van Halen was going to be an all-star. But seriously, it was evident from the very first note that you heard him play that he's a great guitarist, and I just am so into the fact that he has transcended all of that perception of familial legacy and really is his own guitarist. I wouldn't care what his last name. If I heard this music, I would stop and listen to it. I just think the whole band is great. This is such a tight song, and this lick is a perfect encapsulation of what I love about it. So here's a quick timeline for you. I've been trying to like noodle around with this. I haven't really thought if I would make a video about it, but today I just heard it again and I started to make some progress, and well, I turned on these cameras because, like I said, this is the first clip of me attempting this and it's just god-awful. And that's just a result of having absolutely no clue where to begin. So what I did is looked at exactly what's going on in his slapping hand first, and using the beauty of technology for your viewing pleasure and education, this is what Wolfgang is doing. At 50% speed, you can start to get a sense for the groupings of these different attacks on the string. And I use that word attack because not everything is a slap, not everything is a tap. Not everything is a pluck, not everything is a pick. It's all in one motion, and this is a very small motion. Look at the small movement of Wolfgang's hands. I've noticed that with incredible guitar players, just in general, their technique allows them to make it look like they're almost playing effortlessly, and that is required for long extended ability to be able to play this. You know, it's one thing to do a cool Instagram take, it's another thing to be able to sing and play this at the highest level. So we're gonna just work on that playing part. I'm not even gonna talk about the vocals, how incredible that is. But anyway, let's break down how many groups of notes there are and how we could possibly effectively play this, maybe close to Wolfgang. So as you can see, there's a group of 3, 1, 2, 3. The next group, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8 on the end. Now we have to assign what digit is doing what attack. This is what held me up the whole time. I just had no idea which finger was doing what, and it was kind of, you know, a veil of mystery, if you will, even though the video is right there in front of me. The first attack contains a slapped thumb bounce. As that bounce is hovering in the right hand, the fretting hand simply taps on the 9th fret area and creates this sound. Is followed with a kind of rested hand. This is acting as like a bass drum, I would say. That is the 3-note attack. So we don't sound anything like the lick yet, and this is why I was getting hung up, because I understood that it was a slapping cyclical motion going on, but I could not figure out what the rhythm, especially the note. This is what was throwing me off. This E note I thought was a harmonic, so I kept trying to play it like, and I was like, that doesn't sound right. And then I saw his fretting hand going over the 9th fret, and I'm like, maybe there's a harmonic right here. There isn't. It's an E note. So that E harmonic, of course, also does not work. He's not going across. So what is it? Well, it's just an open E. It just has this overtone, if you hit it the right way, that makes it sound like a 12th fret harmonic, but he is really just using these 8 attacks to construct what I think is one of the coolest little licks we can play on the guitar in 2025. So now you've been caught up to speed where I am with this. I think there could be even more, maybe like I said, 9 or 10 total attacks if there's some extra string noise or percussive thing happening, some ghosty stuff. I think that's all on the table, but getting that pattern to sound out without any effects or you know, any sort of help whatsoever, that is, to me, mastering something. So I'm gonna practice this over and over and over and over. I don't think I'm gonna run into too many hangups. I think this is just a matter of doing it over and over until you can get your muscles comfortable enough to, again, not try so hard so your hand's hardly even moving. I'm positive I'm using the correct fingers to execute this, and it's just a labor of love. Practicing something, getting it right, and going to bed happy like you accomplished something. That's why we play these pieces of wood and metal. So let's see where I'm at right now, and then we'll fast forward to the end. And you know, I don't know if Wolfgang, if you ever see this video, can you tell me how to actually do this? I would love to pick your brain about this and all your techniques. So let's see, here's where I'm at. It's there, you know the bones are there. I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna. All right, I decided to switch guitars. I've had a revelation here, and this happens when you get certain patterns down. If it's hard for you right away, that means you're going against your nature. Your muscle memory is taking over your brain, so you have to train your muscles to unlink from your brain and relearn, reshape those muscles to then only be able to do the correct way. And that's what I found by concentrating on this pinky being in the same spot and actually being the focal point of this entire pattern. I then can't play anything else wrong. When I nail the pinky, the whole thing goes well. If I miss the pinky, everything gets all messed up. I found that with all the other fingers and attacks here on the strings, the pinky is the anchor for me. And I don't know if that's true for Wolfgang when he plays it. So I have it down as far as the pattern goes. I'm starting to get some feel at that slower tempo, which is important. You can't really play this robotically. You have to have some human nature. Even though it is a very, you know, kind of quick and robotic riff, it's all about the feel and getting in that pocket. And Wolfgang has the pocket down so well that it has to be easy for him, and so I have to make it feel easy for myself, and that means finding these little anchor points in the pinky in particular. So I'm already starting to feel like I'm getting it down and making progress a lot faster. There was a lot of time where I was just like, I feel like another plateau is in sight, and at this point it's really just about repetition. I know I already said that once, but it's like repetition leads you to more repetition. It's like practice doesn't make perfect, it makes more practice. Alright, another update. As you can see, I've grown a Wolfgang Van Halen beard. Maybe that'll help me get closer to this sound, but I've also discovered that I need to keep my nails at an appropriate length lest I sustain an injury. I learned this when I was learning Neon by John Mayer. You gotta keep these nails short, so I don't know if you're a long nail person or a short nail person. Just be aware if you're learning this along with me to keep those nails short, otherwise you'll break one. I've also come to a point where I want to invest all my energy into mastering this one technique that I believe I've discerned correctly, but in order to ensure that I have, I'm going to play what I have and speed it up, and that way I don't spend a lot of time learning the wrong thing and possibly getting discouraged because I can't actually play the right thing because I'm playing the wrong thing. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and 2 times that speed. That sounds correct, but I'm not fast enough. Let's go 3x speed, but I'm gonna have to potentially try. Too fast, too fast. Let's say 280. So I would say that's the proper way to use technology to our advantage when we're speeding things up or slowing them down. Now that I know my ear training is sound and I have successfully figured out what the heck Wolfgang is doing, I now go back into the dojo to train. I will see you. I probably won't have a beard. I don't know, it could be next year before I get this down.